Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Exile and welcome to Minecraft A Beginner's Guide. This is episode number 1 in our Beginners Let's Play series. And today we're just going to go over the basics of surviving your first night or two on your server. Now if you look on the screen here, you'll see I have the Create a World menu open. I threw in our world name, and what I'd like you to do is go to More World Options. If you look right here, it says World Seed. I have done a little bit of exploring to find a seed that I think would be really good for someone who isn't familiar with the game, and it's just makes life a little bit easier when you have a decent seed. So if you notice, I typed in this number here. You can copy it, pause the video, write it down, and generate your own world so we can play exactly the same. Once that's done, just click on Create a New World. As you can see, it's loading up here, and any second, here we are. We spawned on top of a tree. Okay, so here is our brand new world. The sun's just coming up, and yeah, we're ready to start a whole new season here. Now, what I would like to do is, what we need to do is hit the F3 key. This is not a button I used in our control tutorial that we did during our snapshots, but this is pretty important. If you'll notice on this second paragraph on the left side of the screen, you'll see that menu that says XYZ, and right below it says block. Okay, block is exactly where we're standing right now. So 229, 77, 248. Okay, the 229 number is our east-west direction. So if I scooch over and walk forward, you can see that number's increasing. If I walk back, it decreases. Okay, the 249 in the Z is our north-south direction. So if we go to the right, it goes up to 250. If we go to the left, it's at 248. Okay, those are really important so we don't get lost. And then 77 means the height that we're at in our world. So if I break this leaf block right here, you see we dropped a level. We're now at 77. We were at 76, or 77, excuse me, and when we broke that block, we ended up at 76. This is important. When we go and build ourselves our first mine, we'll be able to go down to levels where diamonds occur. There are certain levels in the game where different ores that we are going to need actually spawn. So that number is really important, and we'll get into that in future episodes. But for now, what I'd like you to do is just reach up and hit the F2 button. Right there at the bottom of the screen, you see it says save screenshot as blah blah blah. Okay, so what that means is now we have a video record of exactly what we're looking at. So we know where our spawn is, and that's important because in this area is where we're going to build our world. Okay, so if you remember in our snapshots when we went over basic controls, we know that to break blocks we just hold down the left key, just like that. And what we're going to do, we're going to chop down some of these trees. This is an oak tree, and we are going to chop this one down. So we're just going to get on top of it and break the blocks. That way we're not falling to the ground taking damage by jumping off this tree. We're actually breaking it down piece by piece. And this is important because there are 3 main objectives that we want to accomplish in this first video. Now, for me, when I chop down trees, I never leave wood behind. But I'm going to put a wood piece of this oak sideways here, and that's just for my benefit to know that right here is where we're going to spawn. This is world spawn. And that's going to be important a little bit later. Okay, so I'm going to put a pop-up on the screen that shows what we need, the essentials of what we have to get done in our first day. First off, we need some tools. We don't want to go through our world breaking everything by hand like I'm doing now. But we have to have materials to make tools. Okay? So we're just going to harvest up a couple of these trees here to accomplish getting our basic tools going. Also, we are going to need a bed. A bed will uh, will enable us to sleep through the night. At nighttime is when all the baddies spawn. That's when we got to watch out for the skeletons and creepers and everything else that we're going to be encountering in our world. And lastly, we are going to need food. As we go about our world, our hunger bar is going to deplete. And see, we just got some food right there. We got some apples, which is super helpful because we have nothing right now. And we have to go and find resources. We have to find food. But the first thing on that list is our tools. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come down here. Look at all these cows. That's awesome. That's going to be super helpful. We're going to capture these cows so we can have our own private herd. And we got a nice little water source here. But that way we can have a food source. Okay, so let's get started here. We have some wood. We're just going to go right over here and we'll just scatter these around here, these saplings, by hitting the right mouse key. If you remember, that's how we use a block. So use the right mouse key and set it down. So that way these trees can regrow, because we chopped down a few trees back there. We'll replant them so we're not just clearing all the trees out of our living area. Okay, so let's hit the E key. With the newest release, we now have a recipe book. If we click on it, we can see recipes that we can make. So if we hit this wood planks, which we need, all it is putting one piece of wood in our crafting grid and we get 4 planks. Okay, and now all these other recipes become available because we have the resources it takes to craft them. We need a crafting table next. This makes our crafting grid here is only 4 by 4. This will make it 3 by 3, so we'll be able to craft some bigger recipes, and that's just 4 planks in a square to create the crafting table. Okay, so we're going to set that down. Now we're going to need some more planks, and remember we just put 1 up there. We're gonna put all of them in there. Okay, and if we hit shift and left click, we can get all the planks. Alright, now we need some sticks because these will be the handle of our tools. So we're actually going to be making a few tools here. So we're going to make 16 sticks. Just like that. There's 4, 8, 12, 16. Alright, now for the important stuff. The first thing we're going to make, the very first tool, we're going to put 2 sticks like that, 3 planks across the top there, and we have a wooden pickaxe. Okay, now we're going to break this table to take it with us. We're not going to craft all the tools we need out of wood because they do not last. But over here I can see some stone. So we're just going to come right over here. See, look at all this stone right here. When we mine that with our pickaxe, we'll get cobblestone and we can upgrade our tools to stone tools, which last longer than the wooden tools. We'll be able to get more resources for the use. And look right there, there's some coal, which is awesome because we're going to need that as well. Okay, so we're just going to keep on going here. And what I'm trying to do is we need to gather up 18 pieces of cobblestone, and we also need to grab this coal. Coal is essential for our livelihood. Coal, with the exception of lava, is the most efficient fuel source when we go to cook our food, or if you remember in the ores video, we have to smelt the iron to be able to use it. Okay, so that is what we are needing all this coal for, and this is awesome that we found it this early. So we have our coal, we have 14, so we need 4 more pieces of cobblestone. And oops, 1 more. Boom. Okay, and I realize there's some more coal. We'll come back for that because, you know, our day seems to be flying by. Yeah, it's already almost nighttime. So, real quickly, we'll put this down. We're going to build the same recipe for the wooden pickaxe except with stone instead of planks for our pickaxe. Okay, we need a regular axe for chopping down trees. There's the recipe for it. We need a shovel for clearing dirt, right there. And we're going to need a sword to protect ourselves. And then we're gonna take all this, make a square out of it, and build the furnace. And all these things, we can just click on these and it'll pop up in our crafting grid automatically. I'm just used to playing it this way, so I tend to not use that table. Okay, now we're running out of daylight. We gotta get some sheep, because sheep drop wool. And you can see I jumped in the air there. Now, if I were just to hit him once, it takes a couple of times to kill a sheep. To kill a sheep. But we have got to get 3 pieces of wool. Okay. Oh, we're running out of time. Okay, crafting table down. Click on this bed here. We have a bed. Woo! Let's place it down. Now, even though we don't have a shelter around our bed, we can sleep in it and we can avoid the night. That is so imperative, because we're not ready to fight zombies and skeletons and all that. We are just not prepared for that. That would just be catastrophic if we were to get surrounded. So we're very fortunate in this seed that there are sheep right here. Okay. I also know if we couldn't find sheep here, over there, you see those kind of mountains? I'll turn a little bit. That's called extreme hills, and sheep spawn regularly there. So if you're in a world and we weren't so lucky to have sheep there, we would have made a beeline for those hills to try and find some sheep. Okay, and real quick, let's go ahead and break this stuff again. Now, if we leave our bed here and we were to go exploring and we get killed, this is where we'd respawn. We set our spawn right on our bed here. Okay? And that means if we die, we'll spawn wherever our bed is if we slept in it. If I break it and I don't sleep in it again, now what happens is if I die, I will respawn over here where we did when we first loaded up the game, where we put that piece of wood sideways over here. That's where we would spawn, is back up in there. So where you place your bed is where you set your spawn point. Okay, now I'm just kind of looking here. I think we'll just clear some of this grass off right here. And all I'm doing is, I find the grass very annoying until I'm done with my builds, because this way you're not having anything blocking the way it looks. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a very simple base right now. Okay, we have our furnace, and in that furnace we're going to put our meat on top, and then we need a fuel source. We can use our pickaxe that we built earlier, and see it's getting consumed really fast, but it's cooking up our meat, but it's gonna run out. If I put that coal in there, watch how slowly it's going to, see, it's got a lot more efficiency when it comes to cooking our food. So I know I can leave that in there, and we can go over here. Oh, I don't think I ever finished my thought on this. When we jump in the air and hit a mob, it deals what's called a critical hit. It does more damage than just walking up to it and hitting it. So if we jump, we cause a lot more damage than if we were to stand still when we hit them. And the only reason I'm doing that is to give us just a little bit more food. And as you can see, we're already to 2 experience points from killing, 4 sheep and 2 cows. So it does build up. And like I said in the snapshots, that's going to be important later on in the game when we start enchanting our tools and stuff to make them better. All right. But honestly, I think that's a really good start. It's just a crash course on how to survive your very first night. Now, if we had not had sheep right here, we probably would have had to put our bed down in those extreme hills, and we will be going over there here a little bit later in probably the next episode because I really want those trees there. Those are called spruce trees. They're my favorite wood in the game, and I do plan on using them. But since we had our sheep, we were able to set up our spawn here, and we're in pretty good shape. So with that, our very humble first beginnings have started. In our second episode, we're going to get another pretty important piece to the puzzle, and that's putting a shelter around our little base here, and maybe even getting some chests to store our stuff in. And with that, it will be very simple. We're not going to build anything grand or epic yet. We're going to start like most people do, just build a little dirt hut around it. But unfortunately, that's all the time I have for this episode. I hope you found it helpful. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. But until next time, this is Exile, and I'm out.